Hello Orphicans, I am Devanshu Sharma, your mathematics mentor. In today's video, we are going to understand what are direct and indirect proportions. Although we have been using this concept very heavily in our daily life, like when we go for shopping. Let's take an example and understand this. Let's say that you go to a nearby store and you see that ice creams are also available there. तो आप चुपके से शॉपकीपर के पास जाते हो और एक आइसक्रीम का प्राइस पूछते हो. Let's say that the price of one ice cream is equal to 20 rupees. So you ask your father or your mother to get one for you. But then you realize that एक से क्या होगा? Let's go for two ice creams. So now in this scenario, do we have to again go to the shopkeeper and ask for the price of two ice creams? I don't think so. We can directly calculate it. So if one ice cream costs rupees 20, then two ice creams should cost rupees 2 into 20. That is 40 rupees. In this, we can say that total price of ice creams is directly proportional to the number of ice creams that we are going to buy. We will understand it further in our next segment. So in our example, we have seen that one ice cream costs rupees 20. Two ice creams should cost 2 into 20, that is 40, like we have discussed before. Similarly, 5 ice creams should cost 5 into 20, that is 100. So as we increase the number of ice creams, the total price is also increasing in the same proportion. That is very important. It should increase in the same proportion. This relationship is called direct proportionality. Now, if I want to define it in other terms, it can also be explained as the relationship between two quantities where the ratio of the two is equal to a constant value. So, ratio of number of ice creams to the total price in this is 1 by 2, 2 by 40 and 5 by 100. All of them equal to 1 by 20. So, finally, we can say that total price of the ice creams is directly proportional to the number of ice creams that I bought. Now, let's take another example to understand direct proportionality. So, one of my student, Urja, is going for a drive with her mother at a constant speed of 40 kilometers per hour. Now, we are already familiar with the formula distance is equal to speed into time. Now, we can say that if time travel is equal to 1 hour, then the total distance traveled should be 1 into 40 or 40 into 1. That is equal to 40 kilometers. Now, if the time travel is 2, then the total distance should be equal to 40 into 2. That is 80 kilometers. Similarly, if time travel is equal to 3 hours, then distance traveled should be equal to 40 into 3. That is 120 kilometers. In this, we can see that as we increase the time, similarly, the distance is also increasing with the same proportion or the same factor. So, as the speed is constant at 40 kilometers per hour, distance is directly proportional to the time travel. Now, let's understand what is indirect or inverse relationship or proportionality by looking at the relationship between speed and time in the same formula. This time, let's suppose Urja is going to her grandparents' place with her mother, which is almost around 50 kilometers apart. Now, we already know the formula, distance is equal to speed into time. This time, distance is constant at 50 kilometers, so we cannot change it. Now, if the speed is 50 kilometers per hour, she will be able to reach her grandparents' place in 1 hour. If the speed is 25 kilometers per hour, the time taken would be 2 hours. And similarly, with the same formula, we can say that if the speed is 10 kilometers per hour, the time taken should be 5 hours. Now, as we can see, if we decrease the speed to half, the time taken is getting doubled. वहाँ पर half किया तो ये double हुआ. Now, if the speed is getting 1/5, the time taken is 5 times. तो उल्टा relationship or reverse relationship. This time we can say that time and speed are changing in such a manner that if one quantity is increasing, the other quantity is decreasing in the same proportion and vice versa. This relationship between two quantities is called indirect or inverse proportionality. And there are many other examples. Let's take one of the example of inverse proportionality. Let's say that there are 20 soldiers in a battalion and they can consume 100 kgs of ration in 5 days. Now, if we increase the number of soldiers or if we double the number of soldiers to 40, now the same ration will last for lesser days because the number of people to feed has increased. अभी खाने वाले बढ़ते हैं तो राशन कम दिनों के लिए लास्ट करेगा. This is also an example of inverse or indirect proportionality. So this brings us to the end of the video and we'll continue our discussion on direct and inverse proportion and related facts in our daily life. Till then, stay safe and keep learning.